Pasaron poco más de 15 años del final de Sex and the City y es una serie que todavía se sigue queriendo y mucho. Pude hablar con una de las guionistas de la cuarta temporada, con Jessica Bendinger, que venía de hacer Bring It On y la llamaron para trabajar en esta exitosa serie protagonizada por Sarah Jessica Parker, que me contó cómo es el proceso creativo de la serie, así como también de dónde surgen muchas de las historias que forman parte de cada uno de los capítulos.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
It was wonderful for me. It was a huge learning experience and a huge opportunity because I hadn't worked on a TV series yet. That was my first job in a writer's room on a TV series. It was on Sex and the City.
The ultimate single gal, Carrie Bradshaw, will be married to John James Preston come fall.
Should we get you a diamond?
No, just get me a really big closet.
I was offered that show when Bring It On was just coming out in theaters. And so I had the number one, you can imagine this weekend for me as a young person, 20 plus years ago, I had the number one movie in the country and Sex and the City was asking me to work on the show. It was like, wow, what is happening right now? It was bananas. I learned so much from Michael Patrick King. I learned so much from Sarah Jessica Parker. They are really giants in the field. I don't know, it just was a magical combination of team of people.
Yeah.
And it made for a magical show. And I'm so pleased, it still has so many fans, and I was so pleased to be a part of it.
Hello.
Welcome home, baby.
I always knew she'd marry big.
Michael Patrick King had a really wonderful way. He'd worked on so many TV shows, and it was very experienced kind of captain of the ship as a showrunner. And he had two whiteboards, and one was just kind of blue sky ideas for the season, and the other had all the episodes across the top by numbers. And so he wrote that across the top, and then the characters were down the side, and you kind of created this map, this grid, to make sure every character had an equal amount of storylines distributed across that season. And that really taught me a lot about craft. And particularly, I have a book that it's just out just now, actually called the Bring It On book, and it's talking about the nuts and bolts of screenwriting and the nuts and bolts of how-to and idea generation, and that really helped me understand how you can balance characters and their story arcs across a season or across a movie, whatever you're doing. I've kept those lessons with me all these years.
Have you ever been a personal assistant?
No,
Why'd you move to New York?
to fall in love.
The first few days, we all had to just come in and tell our stories. So it was really like, what happened to you? What have you heard of? You had to be able to tell a story, and it had to have happened to you or close to you. You couldn't necessarily bring in stories that had happened to other people. So it was very personal. And that was pretty, I'd say, revolutionary for me back then. And, that was in 2000. Because we had to be so vulnerable.
Yeah.
We had to tell these stories that were very vulnerable. I remember feeling hesitation, and then I also remember feeling very irreverent suddenly, and because it's it's not going to be me, it's going to be in a character, so who cares? There are lots of different stories that everybody put kind of in the center of the writer's room. It was very much collaborative, and then those went on the board, and then as we go through writing and beating, it's called breaking story. As we were breaking story for each episode, you kind of pull in, oh, remember that story, oh, remember that story. So it was really a very thoughtful weaving process.
I can't believe you're even dressing up.
The only two choices for women, witch and sexy kitten.
She, first of all, has so much light. As a human being, she's one of those people with X factor and charisma, and she has such a luminous quality. I can't think, some people have it with or without makeup or with or without lights on, and she's one of them, for sure. And she came in and the whole room lit up. And I think it gave us the shot in the arm we needed. My few encounters with her, they were always very warm. She's very sincere and heartfelt. She has a real special quality, so I am a huge fan of hers. I continue to be a huge fan of hers. Yeah. She's great.
And plot-wise, did she had a say in what was going to happen in the show?
Yes, a little bit, yes, because we were talking about a very big thing in that season, and she came in and she shared her opinion. Yeah, I do remember that. It's very unusual. Usually the actors, you're not, that an actor would come in and have that kind of influence, is unusual. But on a show of that success, with that level of success, of course, her input was, invaluable.